Hello there, the uneducated businessman here, and following on from yesterday's lesson on the business model canvas, I thought I would share with you a little bit of a story on a company called Waze. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a sort of a mapping system with drivers helping drivers, creating maps and reporting back on traffic. And I've never used the app myself, but I come across the story recently, and I worked out how the owner, what's his name, where's my notes, Uri Levinne, kind of used some of the business model canvas to work out a problem and work out why it was a problem and how to solve it. And I thought I would go into a little bit of a story about what he did to create this company, solve a problem, and I think he then went on to sell it to Google for probably in excess of $1 billion or something like that. I don't know the full amount, but it's an interesting thing. I'm going to read some of the notes I took because I can't remember it all off the top of my head, and I've literally just been learning about it. But he was looking for problems, and that is generally where most entrepreneurs start. They look at, most business models are pretty much the same. Most businesses are pretty much the same. They don't differ that much, but there's always problems. There's always opportunities. And if you can find a problem and you can work out how you can serve more people for less, which is exactly what this guy did, then you've got something that's probably going to be successful. And he used the business model canvas to look at the sat-nav industry and work out what the problem was with it and how we could serve more people for less. And then he created this $1 billion company. So he basically said he hated traffic jams, and he hated them so much that he found that when he was in a traffic jam, he was getting really irate. And he obviously is a guy who doesn't like having his time wasted. So what he kind of realized when he was sitting in a traffic jam, people ahead of him knew what was going on. He didn't. They're already there. They can tell in real time what was happening. And he thought to himself, if he could harness a way of finding the information they've got and learning about it, why he was in the jam, or before he got to the jam, he could find alternative routes, or his sat-nav, his mapping system could find alternative routes and help him navigate the traffic jam. So it was a great idea, but how would he do that? Now, he looked at the business model canvas, and he looked at the current companies out there, and he worked out that their value proposition was very expensive. They was building maps, but it took them a long time to build maps. It was a very, very expensive process to go down, because they had to send cars out, driving all over the place, videoing, collecting the data, analysing it, entering everything onto their systems, and it took a long time and it took a lot of money. So there was only a few people in the industry who had gone through that process that could sell on the maps to other people. So he worked out that's a problem, and because you're spending so much money mapping everything out, you've got to charge a lot of money to get a profit back. You know, you can't obviously spend all that money and give it away for free. That's not a business model. So in his mind, he was, how can I solve that problem? How can I build a network that has maps built pretty much for free, so I can give this information away for free? Because he also realized that if he was going to be able to do this, he has to build a huge network of people, and he can only build a huge network of people if he gives his software away for free. People aren't going to join it if they've got to pay for it. No one's going to join. And let's say Facebook, for instance, if Facebook charged everyone £200 to join, they wouldn't have the level of users they've got now. They've got billions of users. It's free. And Waze is the same. He recognized that to get drivers going out and driving around and mapping out the areas, he'd have to give it to them for free. So that's what he did. He found people that could develop the software, and he used crowdsourcing to get people together in a social network kind of environment where they had his software in their cars, and when they drove around, it automatically mapped out the route they was going, and it sent the data back to Waze, and they could use that data to build their maps, and they could build their maps free of charge practically, because we as the users using it for free give him that information, and then as a user we could input into that software points of interest, street names, road jams, no entries. We could give him all that data, and we could give it to him for free, and it's like a trade-off. We felt part of a network. That's, like as Facebook is so popular, people feel part of a network. With Waze, people felt part of a network. So they then got to a level where they had a lot of people in there giving out the information free of charge, enjoying giving it out because they're part of a network and they're helping each other. If you could go online and you could take a route and you could see there was a huge car crash over there, you could report on that so the rest of the drivers could drive over there, and it worked incredibly well, and it gave them a system literally that they could compete with the bigger companies for next to no money. Where, I don't know, Garmin, I guess, and TomTom, I don't know who the companies were behind giving them the maps, I can't remember, but it costs a lot of money. If you bought a TomTom back in the day, you had to spend £200 for that unit to put into your car. It wasn't updated regularly. It was a flat unit that maybe you could update manually at some point, but you had to spend £200 for it. Now you can get an app on your mobile phone completely free of charge, and it can give you real up to the date information you don't even have to pay for. So they worked on making it cheaper, and that gave them a lot of free users. It gave them excellent data, and it basically improved the product as well, because what it did was it gave them a lot of free users. Those users provided excellent data. That data attracted more users, and the more users they got, the more the product improved. So it was a network effect, and it kept building and building and building. So how cool is that? He's used his business model analyzer to look at other business models. He's seen where it was expensive for them to produce their goods, and he's worked out a way of doing it for free, and he's found out that people would pay one-off for that product and not particularly feel connected. So he then got people to join for free and feel completely connected with his company, part of a group, helping each other. He created a social network of drivers through Waves proposition, and he used part of the business canvas, feel connected, to get people to feel connected. So I'm reading from my notes there because I didn't want to miss anything. But what I wrote here was connected a social network of drivers who through the Wave proposition felt part of the business. No, I've said that wrong. I know what I've such an idiot sometimes. Sorry, I'm learning this as we go along. He created a social network of drivers, and through the value proposition part of the business canvas, he used that to get people to feel connected to Waze. So there's two parts of the value business canvas there that I've kind of messed up a little bit talking about, but hopefully you can get the gist of what he did. He used his business model to see problems, work out how to solve those problems, and then he used the value proposition part of that canvas to work out how he could give people such great value they'd feel connected. And the great value was they didn't pay for it, they felt part of it, they felt part of a community, and they wanted to keep inputting data to make it better and better and better. And what I'll do is I'm going to learn a little bit more about how he then went on to monetize that and make a profit through Waze, and I'll come back in another video and I'll let you know about that. I hope that was interesting. I'm sorry I messed it up a little bit there, but I'm doing this as we go, as I go. What I'm learning, I'm kind of teaching, so I don't always have it completely in there. I've got to look at my notes, and my scrawly handwriting kind of sometimes doesn't make sense, which is in there. So there's a note there. I need to improve on that. So I'll be back with another video soon on the business playlist, and it will be a little bit more about how Waze makes their money, and I'll be cracking out a leadership video soon as well. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.